Hey guys, in this video we're going to look at optimal stealing on the button. We're going to talk about this new fad out there, and I call it a fad. GTO stands for Game Theory Optimal versus Exploitative Play. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And in this video I'm going to teach you how to play like a robot, very optimal, very balanced play, stealing from the button. This is one of the very few spots I'm ever going to teach you this. I'm ever going to advocate this. I'm ever going to be interested in something like this, and there's very, very good reasons for that. So like I said, GTO, I'm sure you've seen it out there, stands for Game Theory Optimal. There's a lot of discussion about it. It's like a whole new movement in poker today. Like, oh my God, we have to be optimal in every spot. We can't be exploitable. We have to be very balanced. So there's a whole training system out there teaching people how to play completely balanced ranges so that they can't be exploited in any position. So you may be thinking, oh wow, that sounds great. I want to learn that. I want to play that. If you are thinking that, my response would be, no, you don't. In my opinion, GTO is only useful in two cases. It's useful if you don't have time to look at a HUD, because you're playing 24 tables and you just basically want to be a mindless robot rakeback grinder, which is fine, which can be profitable as a strategy. Or you're playing super nosebleeds against some of the best players in the world and you need to know how to be super balanced because you're very happy to win at a 2 or 3 or maybe even a 1 BB per 100 win rate. And now those are the only two cases where I would advocate playing a complete GTO system. When I say super nosebleeds, I mean much higher than NL2K. I play up to NL2K, and I mean the whole thing is I don't play GTO because I wouldn't make as much money. I want to do what's most profitable. I want to teach you how to play the most profitable way. Hopefully your objective is to have the highest win rate, make the most amount of money. Hopefully your objective is not to sacrifice your own winnings just for some idealistic way to play. So we don't play GTO, which means the basic premise of GTO is you don't really need a HUD because you're playing the same ranges against everyone. You're doing pretty much the same thing with balanced ranges. I mean, the way I best describe GTO is, what if you were opening cutoff and I was 3-betting you on the button, and I basically wrote down for you what my range would be, and there was no way for you to really exploit that. So I wrote down that I have a balanced value range, I have a balanced bluffing range. There's no easy way for you to do something all the time to exploit that. So that is useful in certain spots, like stealing from the button. But what's going to happen is if you play that way all the time, you're going to have a very low win rate, and you're basically going to be invisible at the tables. I have opponents now, regular opponents that play this strategy. They're very robotic. They do the same thing. I don't even think they use a HUD. If they do, I don't know. I don't have any evidence that they're using the information correctly. I don't see how they make any adjustments versus anyone. And they're at the tables, and they're basically invisible to me. Like I'm just playing my game, and they're basically just an empty seat. They're sitting there, they're winning at 1, 2, maybe 3 BBs per 100, and they just don't really concern me that much. Now what I teach is to just get better at poker, better at exploiting people. I mean, the thing is, everyone is bad at poker. There's no such thing as a perfect poker player. Even up through NL2K, like everyone has leaks, everyone can be exploited. If you have enough detailed information, a good enough HUD, you know how to use your HUD, you can see exactly what to do to exploit every single person who plays online poker. And that's where you're going to make the most amount of money, by seeing where people have leaks and attacking them, fully exploiting them to make the most amount of profit. So all that aside, yes, I am going to teach you a baseline of average tendencies to have on a button. I mean, it's very similar to having opening averages in each position. You're facing two opponents when you're on the button. You want to have basic average opening range that you can revert back to in the absence of information. And then what we're going to talk about later is how to adjust those averages, how to open more, how to open less, and what sizings are optimal against different players with different tendencies. So what you're looking at on the screen right now is my entire database of I'm on the button, 3 to 6 handed, and the action's been folded to my button. So that is a beautiful spot to be in poker. I mean, when you're on the button, you should be making most of your profit in this game from the button. The button is the absolute most wonderful place to be in poker. Basically, if you're playing a 6-max game, you are the captain of the hand once every 6 hands. So I advocate playing a lot of hands on the button. You have position throughout the entire hand, and it's a great spot to be. But having said that, we don't want to get too crazy. We don't want to open unprofitable hands. So there has to be a balance. So we have to figure out exactly what hands we want to open, have a baseline in our heads, have it written like in our brains, and then to be able to stray up and back, open a little bit wider, a little bit more narrow in different situations. And then once you get that down, your button play is going to be pretty optimal. So like it says in the outline, this video is meant to be interactive. We're going to look at, there's a period of time where I started opening too wide on the button, and we're going to look at that period, and we're going to look at how I made my adjustments, and then we're going to look at what your optimal ranges should be. And of course, everything's always opponent driven. So that's why I want to make this an interactive video. I want you to pull up your Hold'em Manager. I mean, if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and pause this video, pull up your Hold'em Manager, pull up your poker tracker, whatever you use, bring up this filter. You're on the button. The action is folded to you, it's unopened, and 3 to 10 handed. Then once you do that, and you get the same information up on your screen, go ahead and resume this video, because I want to go ahead and fix your leaks. Look at what your hands are profitable for you. I mean, everyone is playing differently. You might be a little bit better post-flop player than someone else. You may be able to make a subset of hands profitable. You might be in tougher games where a subset of hands is not profitable. So I'm not going to just show you what hands are profitable for me. I want you to do it yourself as well. I don't want you sitting there, kicking back, eating your popcorn, just watching a movie. Instead, I want you to work while you're watching this video. So I recommend you do that now.